In this situation, can you start overtaking on the right? The answer is yes. If you are driving with your low beam lights turned on in heavy rain limiting visibility, can you also use the front anti-fog lights? The answer is yes. In the presented situation, are you approaching the intersection from a road without right-of-way? The answer is yes. Are you allowed at this intersection to make a U-turn from the traffic lane you are in? The answer is yes. Are you allowed in this situation to overtake the preceding vehicle at the intersection? The answer is yes. In this situation, are you approaching an intersection of roads where the priority is determined by road signs? The answer is yes. In this situation, can you enter the intersection? The answer is yes. Does the stop sign visible in the presented situation indicate the mandatory place to stop the vehicle before entering the intersection? The answer is no. Are you only allowed to turn left at this intersection? The answer is yes. In this situation, are you approaching a railway crossing? The answer is no. Does the visible prohibition sign only apply to the pavement? The answer is no. Are you allowed to turn right at this intersection from the lane you are occupying? The answer is yes. While overtaking a cyclist in conditions of limited visibility, outside a built-up area, should you use short horn signals? The answer is yes. Are you allowed in this situation to change the lane you are occupying? The answer is yes. You are driving a motor vehicle. Does this sign prohibit you from overtaking single-track motor vehicles? The answer is no. Are you warned in this situation of a steep uphill road? The answer is no. Are you allowed to make a U-turn at this junction? The answer is yes. In this situation, are you allowed to stop at the left edge of the roadway? The answer is yes. Do you have to abide by the vertical warning sign give way in this situation? The answer is no. Is the next signal going to prohibit you from entering the junction? The answer is no. What should be the color of a flag that you use for marking a load protruding from the back of a passenger car? Green, yellow, red. Red. Are you allowed to stick onto a vehicle an identification mark of any state other than the one in which the vehicle was registered? Yes, without any limitations. Yes, but only if the vehicle has a number plate with the designation PL. No, this is prohibited. No, this is prohibited. At what permissible speed are you allowed to travel when driving a passenger car pulling a light trailer on the highway? 80 km per hour, 100 km per hour, 140 km per hour. 80 km per hour. How will you carry a loose load on a trailer pulled by a passenger car? Not covered, placed below the height of the side boards. Not exceeding the speed of 30 km per hour, covered in a tight load-carrying platform. Covered in a tight load-carrying platform. What do we call a combination vehicle? A passenger car with a trailer. A motorbike with a sidecar. Motor vehicles combined for the purpose of towing. A passenger car with a trailer. What conditions must you meet if you wish to carry a child in the rear seat of a passenger car? The child being carried is at least 125 centimeters tall and fastened only with seat belts, as the weight and height precludes carriage in a child restraint system. The speed must not exceed 40 kilometers per hour. The child being carried is at least 135 centimeters tall and is only fastened with seat belts, as the weight and height precludes carriage in a child restraint system. The child being carried is at least 135 centimeters tall and is only fastened with seat belts, as the weight and height precludes carriage in a child restraint system. In what way are you allowed to carry bicycles on a passenger car? Placed in holders at the rear of the car and limiting the legibility of the registration plate. Placed in holders at the rear of the car and covering one side light of the car. Placed in holders fixed on the roof rack. Placed in holders fixed on the roof rack. This blue control light informs you that the following lights are switched on: side lights, low beam lights, high beam lights, high beam lights. What is the function of the ABS, anti-lock brake system, in a vehicle? It prevents wheels from skidding when starting off. It allows the driver to control the vehicle at the time of sudden braking. It always reduces the braking distance. It allows the driver to control the vehicle at the time of sudden braking. Under what circumstances can you carry a third child, under 135 centimeters in height, in the rear seat of a car or truck, restrained only by seat belts? If two children are transported in safety seats and it is impossible to install a third seat and the third child is over 3 years old. Only if the third child is at least 100 centimeters tall. Only if the third child is 15 years old. If two children are transported in safety seats and it is impossible to install a third seat and the third child is over 3 years old. How do you transport a child less than 150 centimeters tall in the front seat of a 5-seater passenger car? On a passenger's lap. In a safety seat or other child restraint system. In a rear-facing safety seat if the vehicle has an active passenger airbag. In a safety seat or other child restraint system. Which braking method do you apply in the event of an ABS failure on a slippery surface? Pulse braking. Pushing the brake pedal all the way down. Pulling up the handbrake. Pulse braking.